Pat's going to take a walk around the place, and you'll be able to see how far we've gotten and what it looks like now. Time to give the chickens a little something special. Pat keeps all the wet garbage, the lettuce chopped up and celery and that kind of thing, and she takes it out every day and gives it to the chickens, and they really like it. We're not going to be here to feed the chickens, and so we're going to have to rig up something so we'd have enough food in there, and there's a neighbor, Greg, is going to come by and make sure that they're okay. Of course, we don't have any dirt to speak of, so we haul it in. Got some topsoil because we're going to get some cuttings of desert willows from one of these ravines and put some root tone on it and try to root those darn things this winter. The chicken watering device we had for the chickens before was unreliable and did run out of water, and one died, and we think it got hot and couldn't get any water. So what we did was we bought this tank, and we got it blocked up, and it's hooked up to the gutter downspout, so it collects water, and you can see the level in it right now. It's got about 35 gallons of water in it right now, and the two hoses come out. The one of them goes through a filter, and then goes inside and down to a device that has a float in it, keeps the little water bowl filled. I had to put the filter on because junk got in the junk got into the tank somehow, and the float stuck, and we dumped about 20 gallons of water inside the chicken house, and boy, what a mess. And the other one has got a little valve on it so that I can get some water and wash out the pans. This doesn't seem like much, but this was a big relief to us. We really like the chickens, and you have an animal, you really got to take care of the darn things. Time to look at the garden. The garden has been a mixed blessing and sadness and disappointment and frustration this year. One of the things that happened this summer, it was hot. It was over 100 almost every day this summer, and these vegetables, even though we've got them shaded, the vegetables didn't all do very well. So here we go. We're going to go through and show you what we got. This is broccoli. The plants are really nice. They're healthy, and there's no broccoli. We haven't gotten any broccoli. We just noticed, though, that there are some flowers on it, so maybe it's going to come along. But we didn't know that broccoli was a cold weather plant, so it suffered and suffered, and we just kept feeding it and putting pesticide on it and taking care of it. And I think we're probably going to get something now. Pat made me go back and change the voiceover on this slide because I call these zucchinis, and these are not. These are the cucumbers. And I said, who's going to notice? And Pat says, Janetta's going to nail you. So I went back and I changed it. These are our cucumbers, and we've been getting cucumbers steadily all summer long. This slide's a little bit out of place, but right here, this is our solar oven, and we made it from spare pieces of roofing and some other stuff and some those windshield reflectors. And we cook stuff in here because there's a burn ban on. So that fireplace, that fire pit under the solar cooker has been idle all summer. So we cook stuff in there, and it's amazing actually because we put a pot, with some chickens and vegetables or something in, and just leave it all day. And come 4 o'clock, when we roll everything up, we have dinner already cooked. It didn't take anything. It didn't heat the trailer up, and it didn't take any work at all. And so that's really kind of a marvelous thing. And we have plans to do better with another design. So you're probably wondering, what in the world is that under that blue tarp with a piece of OSB on top? Well, that's our compost pit from the composting toilet. We put that stuff under there and keep it moist, and it just sits under there and cooks and composts, and pretty soon what you've got is some really nice soil. And I know some people may not be very happy using that, but the Japanese have been doing it for thousands of years, and after all, they did invent the Toyota, didn't they? Well, here's the house. We decided one day, we just can't wait any longer, so we got our airless out, and we pressure washed it and painted the darn thing, and we had the whole thing done in a day. It's really pretty nice. We're going to put a picnic area out here. We got some rocks to kind of define where it's going to go, and in the afternoon, the sun, of course, is to the south of the house. We're on the north side of the house. We're going to put a barbecue of some kind out there, and some benches, and then wait for neighbors to come by and visit, I guess. This is a small little shed we built to house the propane tanks and the pressure regulators. We had to knock off work for a little while and go to LA so I could get a back operation. We didn't want to lose the garden, so what we did was we rigged up this system for watering the garden, and we have a irrigation control device, and what that does is when that comes on, it operates a pump start relay, and a pump start relay turns on the water pump that's in one of the 500-gallon catchment tanks. Then that runs up through that water meter, and then down there we have a manifold in the garden to regulate the amount that each plant gets, and it worked pretty good. We came back, all the plants were alive and healthy. Well, we're getting ready to go inside. We got everything we need. Over top of Pat's head is our horseshoe. We found that horseshoe on the property, and I don't know how long it's been there, so somebody came riding up through here with a horse one day and lost a horseshoe. I thought it was kind of slick that we found that. And, of course, we got our 2 red fire buckets just in case we have a massive fire. We can put the fire out with a couple of ounces of sand, right? Pat does a lot of sewing. She's a terrific sewer. She's got a lot of skill. And around the table there, she's making herself a dress for the trip to Florida. The new sewing machine, the other one just finally gave out, and it was so old we couldn't buy parts for it to get it fixed anymore. So the little sweetie pie got her a new sewing machine, and she sits here a lot and just hums away. And I think in the background on this little program here, you might be able to hear that sewing machine running. Okay, this is the west end of the house. It's down where the kitchen is going to be. You can see the cabinets are in, the stove, the microwave. She's got some curtains up, and we got the sink in. And I have some other programs at the end of going down the road here a little bit, and I got pictures of how we put everything in and got everything going. But this is the general view of the house. The place is really comfortable. You'll probably recognize this. This is a sink with faucets and clutter laying around it. These are water filters, and they're going to go into the water system. We'll bring the water from a tank in, and one of them has a 5-micron filter, and then one is a 1-micron filter, and then there's a carbon block filter, and that'll take care of everything that could possibly be in the tank, and then it'll go into the house, and we'll have good drinking water. This is a little roll-around ventless propane heater that we rigged together, and we'll put a small tank on it, and then in the winter we'll pretend like we're going to heat that big house up with that little tiny heater. Okay, you can see the little cutie pie is pooped out. She's sitting back, and we have this Adirondack chair. We bought a couple of these Adirondack chairs to use outside, but we don't have our furniture yet, so That's what we sit down. You can see the bed in the back. It's a very luxurious bed. It has a piece of plywood and about 10 inches of latex foam sitting up on 6 McCoy's paint buckets. Here's some quick shots of the generator room, the battery room, and the toilet room. You undoubtedly will notice all the tools that we have. We have a lot of air nailers and drills and saws and all that thing. We had to supply all the tools. We could hardly find anybody that would work. I don't know. I guess people up here they come up here to get away from work, I suppose. But we couldn't find hardly anybody to work. And if you did, you had to have all the tools. They didn't supply anything. So I have all these tools. I probably have as many tools as a regular contractor has. I'm sure this comes as no surprise, but those are batteries. Okay, here's the toilet room. This is that's our composting toilet, and we've put it in a nice setting. This room is nice and clean and tidy. I made a wide stool over the window so we could put stuff on it, and we picked up this pitcher and bowl in a gift shop at the El Paso airport, and so we're really happy with that. And so when you come to this is an outdoor toilet, isn't it? But it's not too bad. Pat's standing. We're out there. She's at the eastern boundary to our property, and she's 85 feet away. So we're not too close to the property line. But that property over there behind her is property. We're trying to get that. And the man that owns it has apparently abandoned it. We don't know what happened to him. The tax collector has no address for him. He hasn't paid property taxes in about 10 years. And so they're going to put a lien sale on it. But what we're going to do is we're going to pay the taxes on it and take it off the county's radar. And we were afraid if we went to the auction that some moron would come up and bid the property up to some ridiculous amount, because that's what people have done in the U.S., and they have the property values all screwed up and distorted. And so we didn't want to go through that. The problem is we're going to try to get it by adverse possession. And in another 8 years, we'll go to court and get a court order that says it's our property. And that's how we're going to do it. You know, the work never ends. That pipe coming out of the side of the house is the drain from the sink. Those two other things are the water hoses for the hot and the cold water. And what we have to do is plumb in the water into the house. And that pipe that comes out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it down and run it through a fat oil and grease trap. And the water from there is going to go into a wetland box. And Pat has always wanted an herb garden, so we're going to put an herb garden in by that little barbecue pit area that we saw earlier. And after that, then the house will be totally and completely livable, and it's going to be a big day for us. Okay, here's this little scraggly plant. You know, this is interesting, this plant. Worldwide, this plant is rare. In Texas, it's not. But we thought the plant had died, but it didn't. You know, we got a little bit of rain, and so the thing has come to life. And so I went out and pruned it and got cut to shreds. The thorns on that plant are just deadly. They're razor sharp, and I got ripped up on the face and the hands. But anyway, we got it cleaned up. And to tell you how really silly we are, we're going to change the shape of our driveway so that we don't hit that plant with a truck, because we want to keep it. And it doesn't look like much, but we really like that plant. we'd been up in Alpine, and it was raining up there, and we were really concerned because we suspected it had been raining down our way. We came home, and it was late, so we came down. We were on South County Road, and it was raining, and and the water was running. I mean, it was just flowing down through there, and we shouldn't have tried it, but we wanted to get home, and we had a problem. For some reason or another, we have our little habits like everyone else, and Pat always drives the Jeep, and so she was driving, and we're going along, and there's water everywhere. I mean, it's just, I mean, it was ankle deep on this road, and the Jeep just took off and headed toward that ravine, and luckily it stopped just before it went off the edge. Well, we had the truck down in Terlingua at Archie's garage for, I don't remember, with oil change or something. And so what we did, we hiked out, and it was dark, and we hiked out, and the water's ankle deep all over the roads in the middle of the night, and it's 8 miles, so we walked 8 miles out to the truck, slept in the truck, and got up in the morning and came out, and you can see the tire marks in the Jeep where it went off the road. We tried to put some stuff under the tires for traction, but no can do. The left rear tire was off the ground, and the front right tire was off the ground. So even in four-wheel drive, you have no traction. It's not going anywhere. I had a small come-along in the back of the truck, and we tried that, but that didn't work at all. Finally, what we did was we got our big old towing strap out, hooked it up to the beast, put the beast in four-wheel low, and just slid that thing right off, right off the edge. That is a great truck. An old range cow came out, heard the commotion, and she just wanted to see what we were doing. Well, here we are. Everybody's back home, safe and sound, and you know what they say, all's well that ends well, and everything is. We had some slides of the garden, some general slides of what it looks like right now, or very recently, and so here's what happened with the garden this year. We decided we wanted to plant some corn this year. Pat just loves corn, or fresh corn. It takes a lot of water, but we had the treated gray water from the trailer to feed it, so that's what we did. We planted some corn, and we also planted some watermelons in between the corn plants. You can see the zucchini plants off to the right of the corn. I think Pat's putting in some broccoli and several tomato plants, and for quite a while we thought that we were going to have real good luck with them. We overplanted the zucchini, so we had to thin those things out. I think that's the cucumbers coming up, but the saga of the cucumbers is too complicated to go into. These were avocados, complete and total bust. We tried several of them, and we never could get one of those doggone things to sprout. We bought this desert willow tree, planted it, and it's found a home. It's really happy there. It's growing well, and you can see it put out some seed pods. Yeah, these are some Valentine black beans we planted. Over in this corner, there's some cantaloupes. You can see the zucchini squash are coming along really good. We got several really nice zucchinis out of this. Well, the corn's coming along really good, isn't it? We're getting some ears. This corn only grew to about 4 feet high, and that was it. Very short corn. There's something that was really odd. This one particular broccoli plant, it just grew like mad, and the others next to it, we had to put wire over them because they were really stunted, and the bugs wanted them. Everything was going okay until the curly top hit us, and we took some leaves in to the county agent in Alpine, and he told us that's what it is. He said it's a virus that gets on them. Insects bring the virus in and from outside, and it hit the tomatoes, the beans, and hit the cantaloupes, but we replaced some of the cantaloupes, but it just hit us hard. But you can see that the corn came through for us. Pat was just beside herself, so tickled. She brought that corn in and put it right into boiling water. The Scott's oils finally got so bad we had to put plastic bags over the ears of corn to keep the darn birds out of them. They're really pretty birds, but boy, they were a nuisance. Someone told us that putting fresh pieces of orange out would would placate the Scott's orioles and they wouldn't bother your fruit, but this didn't work. We don't have very many pictures of the wiring on the house. Not much to see anyway, I guess. Ron and Krista came out to help. Ron had found us a Jeep in California, and he drove it out here for us, and he had it loaded up and piled with all kinds of wiring stuff he thought we'd need. He's an electrician, and he gave me lots of good advice and showed me how to do things, and I got lots of shortcuts. And it places where later on I didn't follow his advice. Somehow or another I had problems, so I really appreciate all that Ron did. He's a nice kid. This is one of the least favorite things that Pat and I did. It's an unbelievably bad job. We did it in the middle of summer, and it was hot, hot, hot. I'm telling you, it was hot. And we were always full of fiberglass. And anyway, so we got the job done. But we met a man from New Jersey here on vacation who was a professional sheetrocker, and he told us how things were to be done. And if we had met him earlier, we wouldn't have had nearly the problem. So here's the heinous hated job. This thing in the doorway is a device that we found at Harbor Freight, and it's to use to put up sheetrock. And man, I'll tell you, it made it possible. I don't think Pat and I could have done it without that machine. Yeah, well, here it is. It's ready to prime and paint, and the ceiling looks okay now. But you know, if you turn a light on at night, you can see the joints, and we just never could get rid of those darn things. Here it is. It's been primed and painted. We had one little glitch. We put the primer on, then we put the paint on, and then we found out once we started putting the paint on that the paint looked purple. So we trudged on up to Alpine and got some more paint. We got some white paint, and we'll use that other paint somewhere else. We decided to use Pergo flooring. Uh, we figured of all the things that we possibly could put down, this seemed to be the best in terms of, you know, money, and we have to do everything ourselves, of course, and so we had to consider what it is that would be the best for us. And we picked Pergo, and I guess when it wears out, we probably won't be alive anyway, so I guess it really doesn't matter about this lifespan. As you can figure, we're pretty happy. Here's the last piece to go in. Hang on a little bit. We're almost done. Now we're at the put the stove and the kitchen cabinets in place, and so we're almost done. Well, as you can see, we decided not to build the cabinets from scratch. That had been our original intent, but boy, the work just got so piled up on us that we decided to buy pre-built kitchen cabinets, and we found some at Home Depot that we thought looked kind of old-fashioned, and so we decided to put those in. One small thing came up. We had to convert the stove from natural gas to propane, so before we actually got started on the cabinets, we made that conversion. Pat does most of the painting. She has more patience than I do, and she has a nice hand, and so she'll start in and she'll just work at it, and me, I get in a hurry, and so here she is. She's putting primer on. We're going to paint the cabinets and the stools and the aprons around the windows yellow, and so here she is. She's starting in on it, and we're really excited because we're almost there. Here's what it's going to look like when it's all put together. Cabinets need a little bit done to them before they could be installed permanently. Today we decided to knock off a little bit early, and Pat went and she cooked something in the trailer and brought it over, and we're going to eat and watch a movie. Getting the cabinets all lined up and shimmed and squared away so everything's level and flush and ready to go. First we have to get everything all primed, and then we're going to paint the cabinets yellow, but the back side of the doors, Pat wanted to paint white. She's seen that done before and liked that look. Well, you know, it was really hot, and this bird came in and spent a few hours with us. We think he got overheated and was a little thirsty, and he came in and stayed with us for a bit. Painting day. We had ordered the Formica countertops from Home Depot up in Odessa, and they came in. So we drove up and had a nice outing, picked them up and brought them home, and we got them all ready to go and be installed. We think it looked really nice. Well, in case you wondered, that bucket has a power cord in it. It runs outside, and it provides the power for that irrigation system I put together. Another long story, but we have a gas range, but it's not completely electric free. It takes 350 watts to run the glow bar to keep the oven working when you want to bake. We didn't know about those things. So we don't want the oven to, we don't want the stove to have power, because we live off of batteries, and so we put in a switch, a switched plug, so we could just turn the stove off when unless we want to bake something. Not much to say. We got the paint sprayer out and the high pressure water. We have a pressure washer, and we pump water out of one of our catchment tanks and pressure washed the house and came along and sprayed it. We still have to go and do the trim work around the doors and the windows, but we did it all in one day. Now the generator building looks terrible because it needs to be painted yet. Okay, that's about it. We got in the Jeep and drove up one of the roads and up on a little hill overlooking a place, and you can see it sitting down there. And the house looks good. The generator building, of course, sticks out, and we really like our place. We're going to build a greenhouse over on the west side. We're on the east side now. Over on the west side, we're going to build a greenhouse, and then on the west side, close to the house, we're going to put in a what we call the ice house, and it's going to be a building that's insulated out to about R50. The point is that we want to put a freezer in there, and then we can store, things that can store like onions and carrots and stuff in there, and put all of our canned goods in there. And those are high on the list. And then here on the east side, we want to put in a building that I can use as a workshop. So there it is. We'll have a nice little compound. And if we can get that property to the east of us, then we'll have a nice little plot. It'll be a quarter of a mile on the side, and that's all we want. That's plenty. And so you can see our place, and we really love it out here, and I can't imagine ever leaving.